Welcome back to Colleague Nation. Sorry if I sound a little off. I can't hear myself, which normally I do. We're joining you just in time as they're getting ready to take the green flag here. I got to remember that I'm probably a little bit ahead of Ryan. So I'll try not to spoil things, but they're getting ready to come onto the front straightaway now. Ryan, how's it going, man? You looking forward to this one?
I've been looking forward to this one for 6 months. I think this is one of colleagues' best chances to win and AJ's better tracks. So I am super excited for this race. And actually, we just went green on my side right now. So at least for now, I think we're fairly lined up. Oh, that turn one
Yeah,
shot overhead
yeah,
is
yeah.
crazy.
We
And oh,
yeah, we got cars wrecking already.
I see it.
The
Yeah,
aggressiveness on that restart was fucking stupid. Or start, not restart.
yeah. And they even spaced out the restart zone intentionally to try to avoid that. And it didn't matter. Who
AJ picked up 4 spots.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good on these starts, right? And I hope that luck's. Who is that got damaged? Do you know?
Chase Elliott and I believe Joey
And
Logano, and now the 87's off
oh,
pace too.
Zilich
Yeah,
is off pace too. That's not good.
yeah. Bubba Wallace really screwed up the start there. I believe it was Bubba anyway. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide.
That's great. Oh, I love it though. Who? Yeah, somebody who's a white car on the low, way low side. I can't tell who that is though.
Looks like AJ and SVG made it through fairly clean. How's
Oh,
everyone
you know
doing
what? I
for?
think it was Hamlin.
Oh, what a shock! What a karma's a bitch. You'll see it.
It is
I
Hamlin.
know.
All right.
I know you're a Hamlin guy, but he's reckless on these road courses. The equipment keeps him in it. He is not a good road racer.
He is not. I agree wholeheartedly with you.
How's
I
everyone doing? Hopefully, it's been
agree.
a great weekend. We had Connor Zillich yesterday put on a show at the um, Cota. I wanted to call it the Roval. I don't know why, but at Cota, he had some challenges with Quapple, and I think we might do a video on Mr. Zillish on our other channel, Nascar Nation. If you haven't subscribed to it, please head on over there and click subscribe. Um, for those of you across the pond joining us for this one, I know it's bright and early, so thank you for coming out. And we're just going to see how this goes.
Indeed. And I will say I think there's a couple cars that qualified up front that I don't expect to be there all day. Bubba Wallace is one. Danny Hamlin's already self removed himself from this race. He was another. So I do think the cream will rise to the top pretty quick. Especially as we get a few laps into this race and tire wear really starts to kick in. I am super excited about that, Sean. I think high tire wear is really good for both of our drivers, SVG and AJ, working his way through the field.
If Bubba Wallace keeps throwing bad blocks on SVG, SVG is going to send him flying.
All right, things like people are finally starting to settle in a little bit here, a couple laps in, but I will say I'm very sad that Zilich. I don't know what Zilich's issue was. I don't know if you saw it, Sean, but um, definitely disappointed to see him have trouble this early because I was really hoping to see him actually run well today.
I don't want to say he was aggressive on the restart because I didn't see it, but I do believe he made contact with people, whether it was his fault or not. I don't know. We'd have to go back and look, but he was in that Chase Elliott mess.
Yeah. Now, Chase Elliott was the driver I was really concerned about as a contender to win this race. He hasn't done much in the next gen car, but he's one of the road course kings. Having him have issues this early, obviously a lot of time for him to recover, but that does improve the odds of one of our guys putting together a winning race today.
Uh, uh, we're a long way from Daytona, my
Well,
friend.
I'm curious to see what caused that. Now, have you seen a replay yet? I'm not willing to throw him under the bus just yet, but that's unfortunate for Ty Dillon. Oh, Bush is way off course. Austin Cindric may have torpedoed Dillon based off the Mike Joy here. Let's see.
They gave it to each other. That was fair game, in my opinion.
That's a that's a right hook though. That's not cool. I mean, I understand Ty pushed him wide, but you still shouldn't be right hooking people.
Caution might come if Ty Dillon can't turn
Oh,
that thing
oh
around.
boy. He's definitely got a broken right front spindle or something there.
That was Ryan's doggy saying hello to everybody. Pretty quiet in the chat here. If you're hanging out with us, feel free to introduce yourselves and we can get a fun little conversation going, or you can just hang back and enjoy it. SVG is looking after his rubber. Yeah, Wallace threw an early block on him that SVG definitely could have sent him flying if he chose. SVG is going to make short work of Wallace, even while conserving tires.
Yeah. And we saw Wallace even on lap one, lap two, kind of pushing it a little hard to try to get around Tyler Reddick. And I now think he's already starting to pay that price. Yep. Oh, Bubba, track limits turn 5.
What a shock.
As I said, there was about a half dozen drivers that I wasn't too concerned about. And Bubba Wallace is one of them. Hi, Lynn.
Yeah,
Hi, John. Thanks, guys, for popping on with us.
I think AJ is going to need some help today. I think he's got top 5, top 7 speed. That car is not as good as the Trackhouse cars. All the Trackhouse cars are very good. Chastain a little less so than Suarez, but let's remember who's crew chief for Suarez.
Squid.
Yep.
Daniel Squiderski, right? Unless they switched it up.
No, it's him.
Yep.
For those that don't know,
I
that's
liked Squid.
AJ's old crew chief. So yeah, that ended up being a bad trade for
Yeah, I
Kaulig.
mean, I was happy for him. In the end, I agree, it was, but it was worth trying something different. I'm not too upset about especially last year when they had a stronger alliance. So
How many spots did Wallace lose?
He went from second to eighth, it looks like, with AJ and Michael McDowell duking it out for ninth and
Yeah,
10th.
McDowell never likes to concede a position on a road course. I don't think those Spire cars though are as good as the front row cars he was driving last year. Yet, give Childress some time.
Well, I will say this though. I mean, I think it's more, Michael McDowell being a really good road racer than front row. I mean, I'm not saying front row is bad on these things, but I mean, Carson Hocevar is running fifth. He's a Spire car. McDowell's there in 10th Spire car. I don't see any front row cars in the top 10.
I hope Gilliland is able to do something. He's been okay on road courses, and for sure, it's more McDowell than equipment. He's a great road racer, but what I'm saying is, he's often one of those guys that, much like AJ, our guy, he doesn't want to concede a position, and sometimes you can get yourself in trouble by, not living to fight another day. You don't need to die on every hill. I am
I
surprised
agree with
Kyle
that.
Busch, considering how off track he's been a few times, is right there with SVG. Kyle
Yeah,
Busch is a student of the
and
game,
how
though,
slow
so
he
he
was
might
in
be learning
practice.
some stuff.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But I mean, the big improvement. I mean, he was 33rd or 34th in practice. So to go from that to qualifying sixth or eighth, or wherever he qualified there, and now running just top three, big gains for Kyle and that whole 8 team there. Hey Ron,
Just
thanks for
checking in
joining the
on
chat with
AJ's,
us. Same thing for you, Connor.
just checking in on AJ's scanner to see if they're saying anything. Can't have it all the time while we're doing this, but yeah. Thanks to John and Lynn for coming out as usual. Ron, nice to meet you, man. You got Connor in the chat as well. He says he remembers when 2311, where is it here? 2311 Trackhouse and Colleague were all the new teams. I thought Colleague Racing would go far, but haven't seen that. Hopefully Dinger will get a win today. Yeah, I mean, we would love that. I don't think he's got the car for it. Doesn't mean he can't win. He's won before with not having the car. Oh,
Well, there you go, P8. So also, and let's say we're only 8 laps into a 95 lap race here. We know tire wear is going to make a big difference. We'll see who has a good long run car here. You don't
we're gonna
necessarily
learn
need a
real.
super fast. So
We're gonna learn real quickly who abuses their tires and who doesn't. And if you can't protect them, it's maybe a little less forgiving right now because the course isn't as long. But still, you abuse the tires and you're in trouble. And it looks very clearly like SVG has saved his stuff, and Reddick is holding on by the skin of his teeth. There's a pass coming up here soon. SVG is going to be in the lead.
sorry, every time my dog loses her mind, I'll put myself on mute. But I agree with you. I think SVG's got a much better. Let's see it real quick here. Because I was also looking at just lap time, and Allmendinger's only 7 seconds back, 7.5 seconds back. He's been that same distance for 3 or 4 laps, so he's
He's gained
definitely
some
running
time.
equal lap time with the leader at the moment.
Yeah, he's gained a little bit of time. A few laps ago, he was 8.5 back. So I don't think that's like a AJ's running better than SVG thing. I think SVG is the guy to beat right now. I think Reddick is slowing people down.
Yeah, I agree. If SVG does clear the lead on it, he will probably in the next lap or two. There he goes. He's got him. He's going to start pulling away here from, I think, the whole field.
Oddly enough, Kyle Busch is not losing ground. That's shocking considering how he was in practice.
Yeah, his practice lap times were shockingly slow.
If you haven't yet and you're new to the channel, please click subscribe. We'll probably be doing, upwards of 10 or 12 watch parties this year, depending on our schedules. We release content each and every week on Colleague Racing and SVG. We have another channel to look after the rest of NASCAR called NASCAR Nation. Clicking the thumbs up button helps us a ton. If you're feeling really generous, you can always send in a super chat, and it definitely helps us out at the channel every little bit. Kyle Busch to second place. AJ's got some clear racetrack in front of him. Looks like the guy behind is about 4 or 5 car lengths back, and the next car in front is about 2 seconds ahead of him. And AJ's cut that margin down into the 6-second range, so he's pulling off some lap times here.
The mute
The one
monster
thing I
got me.
noticed,
But I was expecting SVG to start kind of pulling away here once he got the lead, and he hasn't quite done that yet.
there's certain areas of the track, though, where he just looks SVG that is so much smoother than the other guys. And I think the real big areas are that 6A and 6B turn where they're going on to the different racing surface. So I think that helps him a bunch.
Well, as I was telling you the other day, I actually think it's not as technical or tight as I thought it was going to be based off the layout graphic. But I had a hunch that corner was going to really prove itself to be beneficial to the more technical drivers out there. And I think you're right. SVG just looks so much smoother than everybody else through there right now. Yeah, I'm just trying to load up AJ's onboard cam here on my other monitor and see if I can manage to do all of this without my computer completely blown to bits.
That would require, us in Canada having access to it anymore, which no one seems to be able to give me an answer on where it is. They just don't seem to have access.
Well, I also just want to point out, even if you did have access, it's not cheap. You have to have a full premium subscription to Max to even access these onboard cameras, which is, $170 minimum a year.
Yeah, that's about the going rate up here for Crave, which I already have for Game of Thrones, right? So,
yeah, it's just significantly higher than it was last year to access these cams.
Oh, it was free last year, so.
Let's see. Well, AJ shaved about a second off of his deficit to Byron there.
Yeah, and honestly, last time around, only one car on the track's faster than him. You can guess who.
Yep. Okay, well, now little lock up there. All right, now I've got a little bit of overload. I got the full race on one side, the in-car cam on the next. Now, the question I have as we start winding down stage one, there's only 9 laps to go here. I have to imagine we might see some drivers try to flip the stage. The question is for our guys, SVG and AJ, with point situation being what they are, do we think we are more, I guess, cautious and try to stake stage points, or try to flip it and give ourselves a better chance to win this thing?
There's going to be some AJ and Colleague fans that aren't going to like my answer for this, but SVG's winning the race and clearly has winning speed right now. So if he flips it, it makes sense. Despite AJ having P2 lap times the last two times around, he's in eighth place. A couple of the guys in front might flip. That Daytona start really put them behind the eight ball. I firmly am still in the position AJ can make the playoffs without winning a race as long as he's good and consistent, which means you need stage points. And let's be honest, there's going to be tracks that those guys run at where they just don't. That there's going to be tracks that they can't get stage points at. So I think you for stage one, I think you take the points, and if you're really confident with your car come stage two, and you keep it clean, then I think you consider flipping.
I tend to agree, especially stage one. I think you take the points. Stage two is be more considerate to stay or flipping the stage. It kind of, I guess, at the end of the day, it kind of depends on how many cars do choose to flip. Because you're right, he's running P2 lap times. Really, he just needs track position. And if 15, 20 cars flip and you restart stage two, 25th, 26th, it's a scary place to be. But he is coming. Now I'm watching his bumper cam, and he is starting to really catch up to Byron and Hocevar directly ahead of him. So we got Van Gisbergen, who's checked out by 1.5. And now we got Allmendinger, who's shaved off almost a second and a half to the car in front. So can he make some passes is the next question. That's actually catching somebody and passing somebody are not the same thing. So we'll see if he can make that happen pretty quickly.
Near identical lap times last time around for SVG and AJ. Still the best two cars on the track right now.
Yep. And now looks like Byron and Hocevar are side by side, which is allowing AJ to really gain some ground there.
Yeah, well, as long as we don't get wrecked by a host of our again talented kid, but just no brains at times. I don't think that this is a place where host of art can contend for a win.
It's not, but I mean, I'm impressed with his speed. He's on my fantasy team as a full disclosure here, so I'm pro Hocevar. Seeing him just compete at even if it's a top 10, is something that's I take is he's really starting to piece it together on all types of tracks. Because road racing is not easy, and only a handful of drivers are really, really good at it.
I think my fantasy team is currently 8, 9, 17 right now, so that's not terrible. Much better than last week.
Where's Bell at? I had Bell on my fantasy team. I had him in the garage last week when he won. That was frustrating. I think he's running 11th or 12th right now.
AJ said he needs more front turn.
Left, trying to look left corner, still hanging, clear. You don't know.
Listen to somebody's scanner. I think it's AJ's. Let's see.
Oh yeah, he just said, and I quote in terms about Hocevar, this kid has no idea who he's fucking dealing with.
Bye-bye.
Yep. You know what? Kyle Busch deserves credit here, man. He's still within a second.
Yeah. Again, even just a moment ago, I said SVG had built a 1.5 second lead, and it's been shaved down. He's cut that in half.
And there's no way SVG's caught up to lap traffic yet. There shouldn't. I know the course is shorter, but it isn't that much shorter.
No, the only car that he might be catching up to potentially is Zilich, who had to make that unscheduled pit stop. But even then, I wouldn't imagine we're to that point yet.
I know he's not making noise right now, but they're showing him on the track. Like, you can just never count out Kyle Larson at a place like this. You can't do it.
No, not with Hendrick power under the hood. They always find a way to just make speed throughout the race, get better and better and better. But I'm also really impressed with Suarez. The last couple of years, Suarez has not been great at this track, and he's definitely holding his own as well.
I mean, the information, having SVG as a teammate, Trackhouse is going to share information, whether the drivers like it or not. And just, having the data, and I'm sure it's helping. Having Squid, I'm sure, helps too.
Yeah, AJ's experience.
Yeah, he's, I'm not a big Suarez guy, but he's been very impressive this weekend.
Tend to agree. And that's what Suarez needs. I mean, I've kind of spoken at nauseum about Suarez, who, especially with Zilich waiting in the wings, that he is the one that I think on the hot seat, and if he's not performing at the level expected of a Trackhouse car and driver, he's going to be the one out of a ride, and it could be as quickly as next year. So, he needs to run well and try to win a race or two to keep his seat.
SVG said his tires are cooked, according to Lynn, which is not shocking because they knew they were going to have sustainability issues in practice. It's one of the things that came up. He was getting 5 laps into a run and saying these tires are wearing down way quicker than what he's used to. And it's because they've brought a much softer tire to this racetrack, which does provide more grip in the beginning of a run, more speed. But you start to cook them, and it's like wearing down one of those super soft F1 tires. It can be not great. And here we go, Bowman down pit road.
Bowman's the first one in. Yep.
Same as McDowell.
They should be able to pit next time around as well, so we'll see.
AJ's not going to pit this lap, but it sounds like they're considering flipping, which means they think they have a shot at winning this thing. I'd be shocked if SVG doesn't flip.
Yeah, I'm with the opinion that I don't think SVG has much of a shot to point his way in. So he needs to flip. He just needs to focus on trying to win these road course races.
I'm calling right now. He's going to win a road course race. I don't know if it'll be Mexico, but he got screwed at Chicago last year, and this might be the last Chicago race they do. Sounds like Vegas might get that race next year.
Or San Diego as well, I've heard.
So. Sorry, San Diego, you're right. Also heard, here's one this morning that we're talking about up here in Canada. Cota has no race penciled in for next year, and that might be a Montreal race next year. I hope Cota doesn't lose their race. Don't get me wrong. I would love a NASCAR race up here, but I love this racing facility. Even when it's short, I still love it.
And I actually am really digging this shorter track. It's it's a little bit high speed, which is fine. It kind of reminds me of Watkins Glen in a way. Well, let's see.
AJ's pitting next time around.
Here we go. I got his on board. He is interesting. So did everybody else pit? Is he the leader now?
Did SVG pit? I don't think so.
SVG did not pit, nor did Busch, Reddick, Allmendinger, right?
Yeah, I think those guys are all still on the track. Interestingly enough, SVG, Busch, and AJ all running the same engine package.
Yeah, they might be pitting together. Yeah, you know what? They're probably going to pit together at 2 to go. right? Because there's
Coming around the corner.
AJ is very, very lucky that they went to pit road, because if one of them had stayed out, pit road would have been closed.
Come on now.
You know what? I think they probably organized that as a Chevy or camp.
I
I'm
mean,
not surprised.
They're all
I mean,
using the
Reddick,
same engine, right? So
yeah, outside of Reddick, who was just squished in the middle. But you know, it's smart. You know, it gives them one extra lap of fuel, one less lap on their tires. You know, small stuff, but
Reddick's is another one of those drivers that AJ helped when he was younger in terms of road racing.
You're be clear. You're clear. You're clear. We got to stay in front of the 48, which is behind the 19.
Looks like Kyle Busch had a little better pit stop than SVG, and he is all over him.
Where's the tires? Try not to hurt the tires.
all right. And AJ held serve. He got out of the cars that were in front of the cars that were directly behind him at the end of the stage there. So
yeah, he had to beat the 48 out, and he beat the 48 and the 19.
And the 19, yep.
Yeah. As it stands right now, as long as AJ doesn't abuse tires here, it looks like he's going to
get a stage
some
point.
stage point. Yeah. With pitting. That's always great when you can do that.
Yep.
Sounds like Briscoe's all over him, though.
Yeah. I'm got his in car. I am watching AJ's in car right now, and Briscoe is on his butt. Because Briscoe wants that point too. Oh, and he gave us a bump. Coming to one to go here. Yeah. Yeah. And this is a big deal. If Kyle Busch can get ahead of SVG here, it's going to help line him up for stage 2 better. So. Also, just as a side, I see Chase Elliott is P5, which means he did not pit. That's going to really punish him. I mean, I know his day kind of went sour right out of the gate, but he's going to go to the very back here at the end of stage 1.
He might not pit.
Out of line, rolling quarter, coming tight. In line.
My broadcast just froze, so it's all you right now.
Well, it looks like, Bubba Wallace has got a nice cushy lead here. Only a couple corners left. Looks like SVG is going to hold on for second or third, I guess. Briscoe is so good through 6A and 6B. He really gets on AJ's butt through that portion of the track. That's going to be didn't really consider Briscoe, but we've seen in the Xfinity series, Briscoe has always been a really good road racer. So
I could be wrong. I don't think Briscoe has pitted. I think he's busting his ass off here. Has he?
He has, yeah.
Because I could have swore they just said on AJ's radio he has not.
No, he has.
He was behind the 48 when they pitted. stay ahead of the 48, not the 19. I thought the 48 was passing the 19 when I looked up. Sorry. Yeah, stay in front. I just meant to stay in front of them both. I just was letting you know that he wanted stage points probably the 19. Yeah, copy. I don't think the 48 was going to race you, but the 19 looked like he was trying to. Sorry to mention that.
Okay. So I don't know if you're still listening to the scanner, but
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
yeah,
AJ wanted clarification there. It sounds like a spotter might have messed up a little.
yeah. So it sounds like AJ wasn't racing as hard as he could have been there, thinking he was fighting the 48 and not the 19. But the 19 was all over him. Well, stage one's in the books. Both drivers got good stay. Well, SVG got good stay points.
Good job. I think we can run top 4 if we can get up there. And the 19 had a good pit stop and he did a lap before, so that's probably how he made the time up on track more than anything. Well, I knew that, but I was just so confused when you guys were.
Well, so into stage one here, AJ started 12th, is going to restart stage 2 in 7th, assuming everybody pits the way I would expect them to. Now that's good gains for stage 1. SVG up to 3rd after qualifying 6th, so both drivers made some big gains. I think they both have legitimate shots to win this thing as long as they stay out of trouble the rest of the way. So I'm excited for that.
I think SVG will restart first.
You're right. I think he will. You're right. Yep. So 1st and 7th.
Good race so far, though.
Yep.
Nice if I had in-car cam access.
Yeah, it's very thin. So I have pretty much every streaming service known to man, but normally I pay for the commercials on the streaming services. Just so happens HBO is one of the 2 or 3 that I have the premium package on. So getting to watch the in-car does really excites me. I'm glad I get to do that.
Oh, look at that. TSN. So TSN only picks up 2 or 3 in-car cams a race.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them this weekend is AJ Allmendinger. Just found it. So go me.
That's a cool spot. I'd love to be up there.
So how's everyone feeling about the race thus far? Let us know in the comment section what you guys think at this point. Looks like SVG's got a pretty good shot, although there's a shockingly a very fast 8 machine, and AJ appears to be the second best car on track, but needs track position to get up there and battle. It's going to be important to gain as much as he can here in stage 2. Now that you've flipped stage 1 instead of getting points, you're committed. You have to flip stage 2.
I agree, unless there's some sort of caution that might fall, not predicting anything, but that would be the only thing that would maybe determine if somebody tries to do a full stage flip or not. But timing out the rest of the race, how many laps are left? There's 73 to go or so. When do you need to actually pit to get to the end? That might actually determine when you choose to pit more so than the end of the stage.
Yeah, I'm feeling very good about AJ and SVG. SVG obviously in a better position than AJ, but AJ's a little better than I thought he'd be, considering really how practice and qualifying did. But he has a habit of making chicken salad out of chicken shit. So
Well, I mean, listen, they were in the ballpark. They practiced well. They were top 5 or so in practice. They qualified 12th, which is disappointing, but you know, third in his group, so that was pretty solid. So I mean, I think they unloaded in the box. They unloaded in an area where they could fine tune it and get it to a point where they could compete for a win.
Colleague
You
just
know,
seems to struggle in qualifying trim on all tracks. So minus when they tape it up super speedways, sometimes they have speed. ECR engines obviously have distinct advantage when it comes to those type of tracks. But even you look at the last couple of years where he's done cup races on road courses, the pickup in qualifying is just not where it should be, and it's not an AJ thing. It's a colleague thing. So that might be something that Mike Cook can help with over time.
so I will say, just speaking of the qualifying, I understand why they got rid of the state or the second round of qualifying because they added more practice time. But I was surprised that they didn't keep it to, the lanes. Like for group 1 is the outside and group 2 is the inside or whatever, you know, because I definitely felt that was a little bit unfair because there's always a group that's a little bit faster than the other for myriad of reasons. So I was expecting, even if they only did the one round, that he would have been row 3, not row 6. So that was a bit disappointing, but at the end it worked out okay-ish. We should be restarting. Well, or maybe not. Maybe Wallace and Logano aren't going to pit. We haven't seen him pit yet, but he's got a decent chance to get there.
If Wallace and Logano don't pit on old tires, they're going to get eaten up like no tomorrow, and don't be surprised if we see another turn 1 wreck. It will just be pure stupidity on their part.
That's a good point. The fall off is too severe. You're right.
Like, we're already seeing lockup, and there they go. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, they would be like dump trucks going into turn 1 there, running 2.5, 3.5 seconds slower than the guys on fresh tires, and then them also blocking the track. Like, turn 1's already going to be dicey, but you put a couple of guys up there with severely old tires, and here comes the train wreck.
I actually, just looking at, just as a reference, I really like that mobile paint scheme that Wallace is running this week. It's clean and sharp. Let's see.
Wait, I'm confused. Why is the NASCAR race being broadcast on YouTube? And not by an illegal stream, by NASCAR.
You know what? I actually saw that on YouTube 3 or 4 days ago. A live stream preview on their channel for this. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know if it's a one-time deal or.
That's fair use if people want to throw that up on their stream. That's a fellow YouTube stream. Now, people won't be able to make ad revenue off of it, but they'll still see all their super chat money. That's like the much bigger channels than us that do these watch parties. That's interesting. Wasn't aware they. Who has this race down in the States right now?
Right now, it's Fox.
Is it Fox or is it Amazon?
No, it's Fox.
I have no idea.
14 or so races. Yeah, I don't know. Well, they haven't really broadcast that they're doing it, so it is an interesting move by NASCAR to do it, but not really advertise that they're doing it.
They ended up pitting John. It's a good thing they did, because the worst thing you want to see happen with a case like that, you got guys staying out there on older tires who are running three plus seconds slower than the guys on fresh tires. You get into turn one, the braking ability won't be there. You got guys like SVG, Kyle Busch, AJ, Byron, Larson right behind them. Those guys could easily get collected in their garbage, right? So they did the smart thing and they pitted.
And we all know somebody's going to dive bomb turn one. Somebody is going to do it. So it's just a matter of trying to stay out of that mess too. Yeah, this is probably the most dangerous turn one in all of NASCAR. It is so calamitous. It's crazy.
I mean, you and I were running this turn. Ryan and I did an F1 race the other day on F1 2023 on Xbox. And like even the F1 cars, you get three or four wide in that turn. And they're not kidding when they say, because the Codemasters F1 games, that's as close to a sim racing experience as you're going to get on console. And you get up there and it's just like you're blind until you're at the top of the hill. You don't really see the turn or the apex of the turn, and it needs to become a rhythm where like you just know where you have to let off and place your car. And like I can only imagine for these guys in real life, not in a video game, they get up to turn one and like you just don't see anything until you get up there. And then once you do see stuff, it's 5-6 cars wide. Tori says these restarts are going to be nail biting. Yeah, AJ has gotten screwed a couple of times on Cota restarts. Once when it was the purple and white Action Industries car, he got not a full spin but half spun, and he eventually made his way all the way up to the lead on the last lap before getting punted. And then a couple of times in Xfinity, he got beated around. I think one time he recovered, one time he didn't. Actually, last year in the Cup race here, he got clobbered in that turn. So it just, in my opinion, the two best road racers in this field right now are SVG and AJ, and you can be as good as you want. But if you have someone do something really stupid in turn one, i.e., Danny Hamlin to begin the race, your day can be over in a hurry.
Yeah, Tori, that's a good question. I'm kind of trying to read up on an issue with Kyle Busch saying SVG's been cutting the corner going into turn 6, and they apparently haven't been calling it. So sounds like they're legally allowing drivers to get all the way off the track at turn 6 to set up for 6A. As long as they are consistent with that, I'm okay with that. But otherwise, they're gonna, they've called penalties on a few drivers in the other parts of the S's. It's a bit confusing, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I wish they would either have track limits or not have track limits, but having them in some places and not others is really weird and confusing.
Well, they had those walls out there that if you hit it, you were going to destroy it, and they ended up removing them. But I actually love Daniel Suarez's comment on that. It's like, why remove them? It's pretty simple. Don't hit the fucking wall.
Yeah.
Do not like that host of ours behind us. I can see him doing something stupid here.
Oh, Kyle Larson with a deep dive.
Chase Briscoe keeps fucking bouncing off the back of AJ's bumper, and someone's going to take him out.
So calamitous, but looks like everybody's made it through fairly okay here. And Hocevar is going the wrong way there, which is not a huge surprise, but
Locked up the tire a couple of times.
yeah, I agree. Who's Tori Zilich is back in contention. I won't say back in contention, but Zilich is back with the pack. We'll see if he can make some ground up and salvage a decent day here.
Yeah, I don't think there's a chance Zilich is going to eat them up. I think practice and qualified showed the Cup cars are just a different beast. They're not the same as the Xfinity cars. The level of competition down in Xfinity is not the same. You can have lesser driver. I'm not taking away from the kid. I think the kid is going to be right there with SVG for years to come, being one of the best road racers in the series. But it just takes time to get used to what goes on in Cup. And I'm not saying he's not going to do good today. I'm not saying he can't capitalize on a late restart, but he is not going to eat this field up. And by the way, Kyle Busch to the lead.
That's a big move. Big move. And AJ around Larson for sixth. Although Larson's a little annoyed with us, it looks like, but he'll be fine.
AJ went to pass Byron too, and in the process, he wasn't quite close enough, and it ended up running an accidental block on Larson. AJ and Larson are fairly friendly. I'd like to think that they've always raced each other clean, so. Lynn's saying,
I wonder if they made a bad change, Lynn. It's hard to say.
Well, the other thing is they were having trouble with the brake bias in practice. And if that broke again, you're in a lot of trouble. Let's not forget, even though he was driving
brake bias,
he was driving quote unquote a colleague car last year here. It was a Trackhouse car with a colleague wrap. It was Trackhouse prepped. Looks like AJ is going to pass Daniel Suarez here. At least he's going to attempt to. So I do wonder if it's going to be a brake bias issue, but I would not have had on my bingo card. No offense to Kyle Busch, just didn't think he had the car to do anything about SVG.
Well, and Kyle Busch is, it's been a few years, but he has always been very, very good at these road courses as well. So, you give Kyle Busch a good car, and he's got a chance to do some damage. And I think we are clearly seeing that. He's got himself a top-notch car tonight. And he is not just passing everybody, he is pulling away from everybody. Yeah, Larson's a little hot right now. I'm glad we've gotten away from him.
Just watching the race between AJ and Suarez on his in-car cam, and you can tell Suarez drives it way deeper in than AJ, but AJ pulls away coming out.
Yeah, I was noticing the same thing with Briscoe on his ass. AJ certainly backs up the corner a little bit more than everybody else, but he gets such a better launch off.
Not to be a homer here, but the couple of guys in front of AJ are definitely holding him up at the moment.
Well, William Byron is a really good road racer.
Yeah, he was the guy.
I don't really see Byron holding him up.
Byron and AJ have been
those two have been
1-2 in Cup and in Xfinity. So actually, they were 1-2 in the Xfinity Series race at Cota 2 years ago. Byron almost caught AJ when AJ
That's
won.
right.
And then Byron was all over him again when he won at the Roval in his last full-time year in Cup. Yeah, when you're a good road racer plus you have Hendrick behind you, it's a really tough combination to beat.
Yeah. It's actually amazing to me how fast this course is now. Like they are hauling it through 6A, 6B.
Two guesses who the fastest car on track was last 2 times by.
I'll say the 16 of AJ Allmendinger.
That is correct.
Yeah, his angles, just watching his bumper cam, it's not easy to set people up and make passes, but his angle of attack is just so good.
Now that last time by, I don't know if he's getting slowed down by Byron. He slowed down a bit. SVG was actually the fastest car last lap.
Oh,
With Kyle.
Got him. Maybe. Ooh, can he make the clear pass? Yes, he can. AJ to 4th. Got him.
Got to protect that car. He's got a shot at winning this thing. So does SVG still too, but they're gonna have to figure out what's going on with the front. Like they just switched the tires on that car, so
It could be air pressures too, Sean. Like, coming up right on a restart, they may have gone a little bit more aggressive than he was expecting early on, and as the pressure builds, it might come back to him a bit.
This is good though in terms of AJ and SVG. If you can stay in that top 4, you guarantee yourself a restart. Well, if your pit stop goes well, and depending on if cars stay out or not, you give yourself a chance to start in those first 2 rows going into stage 3, which is exactly where you want to be. Now, stage 3, if it runs green, is where the pit stop is going to be lethal. Like you have a bad pit stop, and that can be it for your day. I remember, I think it was 3 years ago at the Roval in the Cup Series, where AJ probably should have won that race, and they had a brutal pit stop. They stayed out too long, and Chase Elliott just blew them away. SVG's not losing a ton of ground to Kyle Busch, though. He was back 1.5 seconds, and now it looks like he's about 1 to 1.1 seconds. As I said that, he might have just slipped a little. Doing pretty good for my fantasy pool at the moment. Hopefully I don't jinx myself. 4, 10, and 11.
Yeah, where am I at? 9th and 12th and 30th. Lovely.
Who's in 30th that you have?
Zane Smith.
I mean, he's won here in the trucks.
He has. And you know what? My other driver is Brad Keselowski, and we all know he's a good racer, but it's almost inevitable that Brad Keselowski goes for 1 or 2 spins every time we show up to a road course. So
I'm actually surprised he's running 16th right now. Maybe he's picked up some stuff from Buescher, but he's running a little better than I thought he would.
Yeah. Buescher's somebody I was expecting to be a little bit better, to be honest. Buescher, even Chastain down in 14th and Gibbs in 15th. Some big names are mid pack. And by the way, Zilich is up to 20th. Just an FYI, there's a lot of racing left.
How can you change a like? This is not me getting on SVG either, so no one say that this is a NASCAR problem. How can you change the fucking rule mid race about no track limits in turn 6 if someone was cutting them before? Like either it was a rule or it's not. This is as bad as they're fucking calling the finishes.
They didn't penalize anybody for it yesterday, is what I'm reading on Twitter. So this one's been consistent.
Yeah, but
But
they
it is just
drivers
funky.
meeting, and they did not mention that in the drivers meeting this morning, which is why they're relaying it now. Like total misstep on NASCAR's part. You can tell AJ is better than Reddick right now, which is a good
It's just a
sign for
matter of
him.
time. Yep.
I mean, Reddick's in a much better car.
Oh, yeah, 45 got off the turn 20 pretty good. Let's see if AJ can dive bomb him, but I don't see it happening here.
Yeah, he got him.
Yeah, he is really able to outbreak these guys, which, with this new car is something I wasn't sure if we'd be able to see a whole lot. That's where AJ and SVG and all the other really, really good road racers kind of made a mark, is they were always able to outbreak their opponents without wheel hopping. That was such a big skill. And I just feel like we haven't seen it with, that skill as prevalent in the new car. So, but we've seen it here. AJ's done it a couple laps in a row in turn 1. He's gotten a couple guys here. And SVG is now back on Kyle Busch's butt. So I see a change for the lead pretty quick.
Larson penalty, apparently, according to Tori. That's costly for him if that's the case.
Well, we saw it with the 23 car. He went from 2nd to 8th on the penalty. So it's not super crushing, I guess, as it could be. Especially if the cars are more spread out.
Now, there is a guy that obviously he's a little far back right now, but he has been just climbing his way forward all through this race, and he's pretty good at road courses and has some of the best equipment NASCAR could buy. Christopher Bell is going forward.
Yeah. He's good at this track, too. He's finished top 5 all 4 years of this track.
Yeah, you just can't count him out.
Nope. Not at all.
SVG and Kyle Busch get racy here like they're doing right now. AJ's got clean track in front of him. He's going to catch him.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he gained much ground there this last lap. Yeah, it's weird, I'm sure, not seeing SVG in a Red Bull car, especially when there's a Red Bull car on the track. Yeah, SVG is all over Kyle now.
I think Reddick's putting pressure on AJ. It could be wrong. I'm trying to gather from the scanner.
He ran a 10th better that lap. It wasn't much, but where is Tyler, by the way? Did he fall?
I don't know. Something must have just happened because AJ was getting pressure from someone, and now there's nobody out back of him. Did he get a penalty?
It just looks like he may have had a bad corner. I didn't see it, but he's fallen to 7th.
Nice and smooth, man. 12 laps. We'll get him. He come in there pretty deep again that lap.
Yeah, Reddick lost 5 seconds somewhere.
AJ, fastest car on the track last time around.
Yeah, I'm not surprised SVG made the pass.
I like that Zilish is being a little more patient today than last race. As I say that, he just dive bombed Keselowski and was very lucky he didn't get taken out. And there's a nudge. Yeah, it was a bit of a reckless move there. I was just about to praise the kid for keeping it clean this time, unlike yesterday, but I think Justin Allgaier wanted to drive his head through a wall.
Yeah, well, that's again, really young kid. I mean, he just turned 18 a few months ago. He's like 18 years and 2 months or 18 years and 3 months. A lot of speed, a lot of natural talent. Just learning how to drive at this level is a skill. So, and I think honestly, I thought that pass was pretty clean. He took him into 6, didn't rough him up. He just outbroke him.
No, that's the thing. He didn't brake. He didn't use the brakes at all. He used the brakes before and then threw it in there, Jacques Villeneuve style. He does that to the next guy he tries to pass, and he's going to eat the wall.
Well, they're 2 peas in a pod, right?
Very, yep, very much so.
I mean, going back to yesterday, like Ty Gibbs and his stint in the Xfinity Series, he would just, freaking bowl his way through whoever he needed to bowl. So I think AJ is going to get to second here before the end of the stage.
He's the fastest car on track right now. He had SVG and Kyle Busch by about 3/10 last lap.
Well, I'll tell you what, now that he knows he can cut 6, he's getting a really wide arc into 6A, and he is making up some ground right there.
Pardon me, he had SVG by 2/10. He had Kyle Busch by 8/10.
I think Kyle's tires are shot. It's interesting. So my race broadcast is maybe 5 seconds or so. All right. My race broadcast is about 5 seconds ahead of my onboard broadcast for AJ. So I'm kind of watching the move get set up on one screen and then kind of execute it on the other. He really is. What I'm noticing, and same thing with SVG, their ability to roll the center of the corner is so much better than everybody else's. Um, like he can outbrake them and then roll back to the throttle, and it's just he's knocking them up, catching them and knocking them down. It's really really cool to see. Say, where are we at? There's 8 left in stage 2. I think the field is fairly stabilized at this point, but the gap between Van Gisbergen, Bush, and Allmendinger, and then Byron in fourth is about 3.5 seconds. It really is a 3-horse race at the top here for the stage. And I would expect both all of these cars to probably flip the stage again going into stage 3, but there's
Stage
definitely
three
a
is
lot of
just
speed in these cars.
Stage three is a different beast. Like you got the green flag pit stops unless you get a caution, which there hasn't been one during the actual racing yet. Which means your pit stop is just like you cannot have a mistake on pit road, not entering, not exiting, and certainly not with the crew. And AJ Spotter just came on the radio. Is like, he does know he's a lot better than the 2 cars in front of him right now, right? And Trent Owens' reply was, just let him drive, please. In
Yeah,
other
I
words,
will say
don't
that.
bother him.
Yeah, when he's in a groove, let him be in a groove. But I will say, all of a sudden, Kyle Busch has found a little bit of pace here. So
Yeah, Bush and SVG were better than AJ last lap.
man, I am glad we're not racing back in that soup of the 15 to 20 position. That is gross. Also, by the way, Connor Zilic up to 14th.
Yep. I mean, a long way back from the leaders, but I'm glad
Well,
he's
once
kept the car clean. He certainly
yeah,
didn't do that yesterday.
well, once we restack him here for stage 3, he's going to be right there.
He's going to have some work to do because we're going to be. I'm assuming he would flip. There's no reason not to. He's not running for points, right? So
Yeah,
if he's
I would flip
flipping,
him.
let's say he restarts. He's probably not getting another position. He's 2 seconds back from Chastain. He might get one more, and even restarting 12th or 13th. By the time get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting him to win this thing, but I definitely think he's going to work his way up to definitely a top 10 and maybe even pushing a top 5. So really good recovery for sure, no matter what happens here the rest of the day.
SVG was best by last lap. Him and AJ were very close in time. Actually, sorry, Kyle Busch was best by last lap, and all 3 of them ran near identical times.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all just kind of conserving at this point or what, but As I said, the whole top 10 for the most part is pretty much stabilized.
Zilish is running a couple tenths slower than the top three, but he's also running better than 6 or 7 of the cars in front of him, too.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't make another mistake today, I could see him easily getting a top 10 here.
At the end of the stage break, or when we go to a stage break, I'm going to leave you with them for about 10 minutes because I'm going to probably have to start stage 3 in a new room. But yeah.
Sounds good.
I want to be able to charge my laptop a bit here because right now I'm broadcasting from the laptop, but I may have to switch to my phone at some point. My laptop battery isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, so I'm very thankful that I can keep mine plugged in pretty much always. So
AJ's going to pit in a couple more laps. Or maybe sooner. We'll see. He's fine. He must have had a track penalty. Hamlin, it looked like.
yeah, they're all starting to pit now. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is Clint or Harvick just said it. No mistakes. No mistakes. And
well, you can take your driver out of the race here, right? Like if you have a bad pit stop here, it's on you. For the top 3 guys, they're clearly better than the rest of the field right now. And a mistake here is, it might not be a fireable offense, but it's inexcusable.
And honestly, I'd rather they do it under green with the gaps that they've built. A little bit less traffic on pit road. This is the less opportunity for mistakes in these situations. As long as you don't speed or you leave a lug loose, it's okay to take an extra second on the stop if you need it. Coming to 3 to go.
Looked like last time by SVG, Bush, AJ, and Zilish were the 4 fastest cars. In that exact order, too. Zilish went down pit road.
Yep. Yeah, he had to. He was too far back, I think, to try to risk going another lap. Oh, issues with Larson.
Did he cut the limit again?
No, he's stuck on pit road. Something happened. He couldn't get the left rear tire off, it looked like. They cut away, of course, so we don't see it, but he was long stop. All right, here they all come. All right. SVG, Kyle, AJ. Uh-oh, and Larson lost a wheel. Oh, no.
So is this going to be bad for AJ, SVG, and Bush? I always get this confused.
They're fine. They're fine.
AJ's
They're
stop
already
is
on
a
pit
little
road,
slower
so
than the other two.
it's fine. As I said, it's okay. You don't need to be faster here. You have a 5-second cushion.
Yeah, he kept everyone else behind him. That was the important part. That being said,
Kyle
SVG and KB into it.
Yeah, I was just going to say Kyle Busch and SVG are banging here. And Busch back out in front. Busch has got a really good short run car here.
Yeah, it's funny because if you break the three down, I would say Busch is the best short run car. AJ's the best, mid run car, and SVG's the best long run car. So, which does play in SVG's favor here coming up to stage 3. But I seen the tire rolled off the track, so that's probably the reason for no yellow.
Yeah, especially coming to the green end of the stage here, they'll throw the yellow then and go pick up the tire if they feel like it's in a safe enough spot.
Somewhere our buddy Mondo's crying, but I'm going to guess that Kyle Larson's just going to get this lap right back and still salvage a decent finish.
It's a 2-lap penalty, Sean.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Well, then never mind. Well, he'll get 1 lap back, and then he'll need a caution.
He won't be. He's not eligible for the lucky dog either.
Really, even though it happens before.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe Mondo
he's under penalty. He is under penalty. He is not eligible for the lucky dog. Also, I'm sure there's somebody a lap down.
Yeah, AJ lost in terms of getting on pit road, getting off pit road, in the pit stop. He lost about a second to the other 2 cars.
It's for the pit stop here coming up. Mid stage 2 or stage 3, that'll be a much bigger deal.
It'll be the end of the day, more than likely.
But here it's fine. He's conserving the tire, not pushing it too hard, trying to save that tire.
Ryan Preece is sticking the middle finger up at me right now. I did not start him this race, and he's going to win the stage and get 10 bonus points that I won't see in our fantasy pool. I don't see Zilish on that board. Did he get a penalty?
He's P20. No, he's P23.
Yeah, he fell back several cars.
There's several cars that didn't pit yet. Yeah, because just looking out of here, Wallace, Custer, Gilliland, Elliott, Herbst, at a minimum, have not pitted yet, and they're all ahead of him. So, McDowell stayed out too. Interesting choice.
All right, I'm going to leave you live. This shouldn't shut down. Here, let's test it. I'm going to close my laptop because I want to charge it for about 10-15 minutes before we get going here. Let me know if it kicks you. It shouldn't. It just might make you be bigger on the screen. If it does, message me on Facebook, and I'll hop on my phone immediately rather than in 5 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, there we go. So, good little stage break here. Everybody can take a deep breath, get ready for the start of stage 3, that's when all the action really kicks up. So, I'd say it's been as good of a stage or good of a race as we could have asked for both SVG and AJ to this point. It's good, solid stage points here for both drivers. They're both going to restart first 2 rows coming into stage 3. And really, I do think it's a 3-horse race. Might be able to include a 4th or 5th, but I really like these cars. They've put themselves in a position to win. So this is where it gets really exciting, guys. The only thing I will say as I sit here, this stage break's going to take about 10 minutes. It's ridiculous how long these take. So for those that have been watching SVG in supercars, is this the track layout he raced at Cota a few years ago, or is it different than that race? Because I remember somebody saying in the past that he's ran Cota before on a different layout. That would certainly explain. I mean, he's obviously just really good at these sorts of races, but if he's more familiar with this layout than the other drivers, it's not shocking to see him running so well. Gotcha, Lynn. Say I can't share the YouTube comments like Sean can because I'm not actually hosting this stream. But Tori says almost there's a little jump by the new turns they had. So um, does that mean there's like a bump in the track that's not there anymore that used to be, or they cut some of that off? Yeah, it certainly looks similar, but yeah, it definitely seems like they may have smoothed it out a little bit or cut some corners. Ah, gotcha. Steep down drainage ditch. Yeah, I'm guessing they had to smooth that out for the F1 cars. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's actually some of the track has been repaved, and some of the other parts of the track haven't been repaved. And a lot of that has to do with the F1 wanting a smoother racetrack. So they come through and have to do that every once in a while. Yeah, Tori, that's definitely a goal I have is to I don't have a lot of free time unfortunately with my work, but um there's definitely some V8 races I do want to go back and watch. So, if you guys have a suggestion of 2 or 3 of some of the best races that I should go back and watch, why don't you let me know and I'll try to make a point to do it. But I know there's a lot of them. He's obviously won a ton in supercars. So if you guys have a couple suggestions of some of the more aggressive or more dramatic wins of his career, let me know. It's funny. I actually think these cars are tanks. They can take a lot of damage. They're kind of fragile with the toe links on the edge. If you slap a wall, but you can also drive into the side of another car and keep on going like nothing happened. So there are certain road courses, and I think you guys may have seen this last year. Sonoma, in particular, going through the S's that they have. Some of these cars get really airborne. Like they're a couple feet off the air, and they're constantly slapping the surface. So. And also just looking at the board here, it does actually look like Michael McDowell has stayed out. So he is still leading this race. That would be really, really interesting to see if he's choosing to stay out here and not pit. Because as Sean said earlier, that's asking to get ran over. Tori, I agree. These drivers are so bolted down to their seats, and these seats are pretty, securely attached to the frame that they feel a lot in their lower back and spine. So that would certainly be a concern over the course of a long race. They some of these drivers, we've actually seen that a few times. Couple broken backs. Eric Jones broke his back last year, and Eric Almirola a few years ago broke his back. So the bottoming out and the impact these guys take in their lower backs is definitely a big concern. So I understand why they smoothed that out a little bit. All right, so Michael McDowell is staying out. I don't know when he pitted last, but it's going to be interesting with the car on older tires here at the front. I think SVG starting behind him is.
It's called stupidity, my man. This is one of those. McDowell's done this before, and he's going to try to hold up the field on his old tires. He's going to go into one, not have the braking ability that the top three guys have, And it's just I fucking hate this move. Like this is a brain dead move, and it's going to cost someone.
Yeah, and it could cost anybody. It could hold up SVG, who's directly behind him, or as you said, he could lock his tires up and slide, and could run right into the side of Kyle or AJ here. So it's a nerve-wracking moment here on this restart. Wow, SVG did not get a super great restart there.
Yeah, AJ cleared him.
And I tell you, Mike McDowell there really did. I'm amazed he was able to get such a good restart. Here comes Chris Bell into the top 10 or top 5 as well. So, oh, and there goes AJ by McDowell.
Just a no brainer, no win move. Like,
I mean, listen, he didn't wreck the field. He didn't go straight to the back. He's, at least for now, holding his
he's
own
going
here.
straight to the back, my friend. You watch.
So, well, I don't know where he was running before this, right? I guess at the end of the day, when you sit here and is it a no-brainer or is it
I can't see who that is. Oh, there it is. I told you.
Suarez went around.
87 is done.
Oh, that's a hard hit. What the hell happened there?
I don't know. Massive damage to both cars and their teammates too.
Yeah, you're right. That
If
is
this is 2 days in a row of, I don't know if it's Zilish or not, but if it's 2 days in a row of him doing this,
nah, it's Zilich definitely wrecked, but he wasn't the cause of 99 spinning. 99 was already spun, and Zilich drove into him.
My God, either bad call by Zilish or horrible call by the spotter.
Yeah, that's a spotter issue right there.
Man, I wish you could rewind on the scanner. I'd love to go back in that moment and hear what he's hearing.
Well, you know what? The 99 should have locked it down.
Easier said than done, though, when you're spinning
You're
like that.
right.
It's not just going to stop on a dime, right?
No, but he released his brake. It's clear he released his brake, which is why he rolled.
Poor Will in our fantasy pool. Just seen his message. For fuck's sakes, he's in the tires. He's more than in the tires, buddy. His day is done.
Yeah, that was a huge. The one thing I will say where Zilich should have slowed up. He instead of
He clearly did not.
That was an ARCA brake situation there.
You know what, though? I hate to play devil's advocate when it comes to NASCAR because I just don't like a lot of the decisions they make, man. You know that. For me, I apologize. My little one's going off in the background. For me, that's the type of situation they're trying to avoid by not throwing the yellow when racing, to the white flag or the checker flag at the end. Like, that's a hard hit as it is. It could have been even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a bad spot too, right? I mean, just super vulnerable, and it was just really unfortunate it happened to be Zilich there, but whoever was in that spot was going to make some contact. So
it looked
hard
like
hits.
Suarez lost it on his own.
Man, I need another replay. He might have just, a lot of dirty air. Three wide it looked like, or if nothing else, it was.
Let's not forget, like a lot of people just think, oh, fresh tires, we can just gun it. No, it takes time for the tires to warm up. Maybe not like an F1 car, but it still takes time.
Yeah, well, and listen, circling back to Suarez, I need to see a replay before I make too many conclusions on what caused that. But He was really good at the start of this race. Running top 5, showing a lot of pace. He was right there with SVG and Trackhouse. And then he's just somehow worked his way to the middle of the pack there, and he did not need this. He needed to keep his good run going, and this is super detrimental for him. And taking out your own teammate, obviously, there's nothing he could do about that. That was just really bad luck. But yeah, teammate on teammate crime is always a bad situation. Oh, and Ross Chastain barely got through there.
From an AJ perspective, I can't emphasize how massive this restart is. You have a chance to come out of 1 with a lead here.
Yeah.
And if you can, there may be no looking back. We'll see.
I agree.
A little early for that, but better to be 1 than 3 or 4. And we'll see what happens. You got 2 welcome cars starting at front, but I think we both know Kyle Busch buys a little less into that than, say, AJ, and I'm not even sure how much AJ buys into it, to be frank.
Well, I will say this: I think we can agree that AJ's got a better middle run to long run car. Kyle's really good on the short run. I expect Kyle to fade. It's just if we can clear him now and create a gap, I really think this turns into a SVG and AJ showdown. And any gap you can build is huge, even early with 40 laps to go or 50 laps to go, however many laps are left here. And yep, there it is. 99 just lost it on his own. So I agree with you, Sean. This is a huge restart, though. This is a real opportunity to dictate the race, because that's what you want. You want to be able to dictate the pace. You want to be able to dictate the restarts. So I think it's early to say it's a race-winning move, but if they can clear Kyle here, this is a real chance to make a statement.
I imagine Justin Marks is not thrilled at the moment. But yeah, it's big. As always, though, like, you got McDowell, who looks like he's not pitting yet again. I can really see him doing something stupid, and he's not going to slow his car up as quick as the other cars. And as always, like, you got AJ and SVG restarting P2, P3 here, even Kyle Busch for that matter, P1. They're at risk of a bunch of guys running them over into 1. We'll have to wait and see. That's why you almost got to drive it a little deep here. Not too deep that you wreck someone in front of you, but deep enough that you avoid the guys behind you and yet not lose all your runoff.
I would almost prefer here that I'm sure this is what they're going to do, but I would almost prefer AJ to be on the outside here. Gives him the chance to go wide if he needs to.
I have my volume pretty low. Did Boyer just say he picked Allmendinger?
Yes.
I'll say this. I always like the cars that are running the best, the drivers that are running the best to get the win. One of those guys in the top 3 deserves to win this race.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bell and Byron both have really good cars. I think they have top 5 cars. I don't think they're as good as the top 3.
Yeah, Bell's better than I think people are giving him credit for, and he's got a better car in general, running a Gibbs car. Same with Byron, but AJ ate up Byron pretty quick earlier, but we're much later in the race now, and that guy that they're showing right there was pretty good in road courses back in his day. So, I just want to see one of those top 3 guys win. Obviously, I want AJ to win. No offense to the SVG fans here in the chat. I'd take SVG second over AJ. Um, and then Kyle Busch hasn't won in forever, so I wouldn't even mind if he won. But if it's not one of those three guys, I'm going to be pissed. And if McDowell does something real stupid here, I'm going to be more pissed. Looks like we're going to get an
Yeah,
extended
honestly,
yellow, though,
obviously,
because of the damage
I
to
want
the
AJ
wall.
to win. So. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I guess I understand them wanting to fix that, but I don't think it's hurting anything.
There's not a whole lot of protection there when you see what they're using. That was probably a hard hit for the young guy. Yeah, well, Ross better watch himself because the 16 owes him a big one from this track.
I don't think he'll even see Ross the rest of the day.
Man, that hit was harsh.
Yeah, that's a welcome to the Cup Series moment right there. He's going to feel that one. John, I look at it this way. I think SVG's got a chance to win every single road course he goes to this year. Well, AJ's certainly capable of winning. The opportunities are going to be fewer and far between in my eyes. So when you put yourself in a position like this at a track that I think he's been really good at in the past, I'd like to see AJ win this one, and then SVG can take the next one.
Yeah, when I look at the 6 road courses on the schedule, Mexico's a blank book, right? They both have experience there, which will put them ahead of a lot of the field. But the one track that I look at and I go, sorry, the 2 tracks I look at and go, SVG has a better shot than AJ there is AJ's cursed at Sonoma. There'll be an equipment issue of some sort. I almost guarantee it. There almost always is when he runs there. Um, and then Chicago, obviously, we never really got to see how good SVG was last year at Chicago, and AJ was terrible in practice and qualifying, and then in the race he ran top 3 speeds until wrecking late. So I definitely give SVG the edge at Sonoma. He won there, right, in Xfinity last year? I believe he did.
He did,
Uh,
yes. Him and Larson put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, so I definitely give SVG the edge at Chicago and at Sonoma. I call Watkins Glen a wash. I'm calling Cota a wash. Mexico, we just don't know. They should be better than a lot of the rest of the field. And then I'm sorry, but AJ is better than SVG at the Roval. So I'm giving SVG the advantage overall amongst the 6 races because I think he's earned it. Um, but you don't want to wait till race 4 or 5 or 6 to get your road course win. Well, 6 won't do you any good for making the playoffs. So let's just talk about
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
5. Those guys don't want to wait till race 4 or 5. It just puts more pressure. If AJ or SVG can win here today, hell, even Kyle Busch, it applies to him. The pressure on those guys for the rest of the regular season. Now, mind you, they could still miss the playoffs if you end up getting more than 16 winners. Hasn't happened ever yet, but um, just the pressure would be off all 3 of those guys. So, even from that standpoint, whether it's SVG, AJ, or Kyle Busch, I'd really like to see one of those drivers get the benefit of that.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It would be good for all of those drivers, and obviously, with one welcome and something we've talked about a decent chunk on our shows, a Kyle Busch win here would be obviously really good for the group. AJ win here would obviously be good for Colleague, but also one welcome. I think I would be happy with either of those 2 guys getting to victory lane here. And of course, SVG is who he is, and he's going to be a real beast. So at the end of the day, I just want all 3 of these guys to get good finishes too. They all 3 need good finishes.
For SVG, we know AJ has experience on the ovals, right? And there's some of them he's quite good at. But if SVG can win here or win, I think the next one's Mexico. like he'll house him to just go learn those cup tracks first time around for most of them, and like that'd be huge for him, right? So like again, my obviously I want AJ to win, but if it's any one of the top three, I'll be happy at the end of the day. Someone else, probably something screwy has happened. And again, I do not like who's starting behind us.
Yeah, that's concerning. I was hoping he would go behind Bush. All right, here we go. Restart. All right, Bush.
Dick fucking move. Seen that coming. Seen that fucking coming.
Yep,
Got
you're
fucking
right.
punted.
Ah,
Both of them got killed on that turn.
that's so frustrating. Freaking McDowell, man. And it was not necessary either. Yeah, now it's gonna be real hard, man. These Toyotas are gonna be really hard, and honestly, Byron, like all of those cars, gonna be really hard to get around. And I expect him to get around them, but it's just going to take a lot of laps to redo it.
It's honestly it's the type of move that can destroy your race for both of those guys. Then now they went from favorites to underdogs. I know people are probably like 41 to go, man. Sorry, but that's the realistic outlook of this situation right now, which is why I did not want that piece of shit starting where he did. Lynn's claiming AJ has problems with the steering. I wouldn't doubt it. He got fucking punted.
Yeah, he could also again like dirty marbles on the wheels. It takes a while to get that crap worked off. He is saying it feels bent, so
This is life as an Allmendinger fan, man. I fucking hate McDowell. And of course, he's falling like a rock again, so all he did was fucking cause havoc for others with no benefit for himself.
yeah, that's so frustrating. But I look at it he probably couldn't brake as well as the other cars because his tires are so old and so
Which is why
worn.
he shouldn't have been there.
Like yeah.
Oh man, my fantasy team's taking a beating right now. Fuck. Come on.
Oh, and Bowman's having a bad
He
day.
was having a good day. He's top 10 most of the race.
Yeah.
AJ's got to pass the 19 here and soon, regardless if it's a steering issue or not, because SVG's behind him, and you don't want those two fighting amongst one another, or else they're never getting back up front.
I tend to agree with that statement. It's hard to say. It's only been a lap or so, but it seems like he hasn't been able to quite make the same angle of attack moves as he was a little bit earlier in the race, and maybe that is some steering issue.
Well, he got hit hard. He almost got spun out. He saved it.
I wish they wouldn't cut away from AJ's in car there. Yeah, he's having a hard time. Definitely not as good as it was earlier, which is beyond frustrating.
And this is what I'm talking about, right? Like people look at it as like a know-it-all attitude. Yeah, fuck you, McDowell. You sack of shit. It's not a know-it-all attitude. It's just experience with the sport. You and I have been calling all race, turn one on the restart. You get someone to do something stupid, and it can ruin your day. And SVG and AJ are just going to have they're probably going to, frankly, they're probably going to need a caution to have a shot at winning this race now. And AJ definitely is not being able to do what he used to. So I think there's steering issues. I know he's looking to make a move on Briscoe sooner than later here, but it's frustrating. And that's what there's so many variables. You can be the best road course racer, you can have the best race going for you. And if one of the other 35 idiots on the track does something stupid, you're the one that pays for it. And sometimes there's no way to make up for it.
Yeah, and you were already seeing that. Like, it's even when you have a better car, it is really hard to make a pass. And it depends on where the other car is better than you, or and all that. Even now it's clear AJ is better than the 19, but he just can't get a good drive to get around him, and he will eventually get around him. And I'm guessing SVG2 would follow suit quickly. But now they're so far behind the leader. What are they? Almost 4 seconds behind Busch right now. That's really hard to make up. They're not moving. It's just 2/10, 3/10, maybe a lap. It's hard to get that back, even once you're clear of traffic. And frankly, at this point, he's starting to fall a little bit behind that 19, so that's super frustrating. Yeah, it's SVG's tire pressures are too low. I agree. I think that's what's something they've intentionally done to help him on the longer runs. He's not quite as good on the short runs. but he'll probably come in here towards the last few bits of the stage. And I know we have another pit stop coming soon too at this.
I'm fucking pissed. I'm trying to stay calm, but like, it's the one thing if one of the guys got fucked there, they both got fucked.
Yeah, now they've lost a second that lap behind Briscoe.
And this is why I said, playing for stage points might have been a smart move. I know you have a chance at winning. I agree with the call, but in hindsight, it's like, gave up a lot of points there.
And honestly, he's still running fifth, Sean. Like, even if he finishes right here,
Oh, it's a
fifth
good
is a
points day
very
for
good
sure.
day.
I think SVG is a little better than him right now, and I think they're both better than Briscoe. I don't know if either one of them have anything for the top three now. They both got beat and banged there, and I just frustrating.
Yeah, well, we say here like, man, we got a chance to win. We got a chance to win. And that's when you get that tantalizing closeness to having a chance to win. It does make this hurt a little bit more, but where are we at? 35 to go, another pit stop to come. We'll see how this plays out. There's still a lot of racing left to happen here.
AJ just tried to dive bomb him, and it didn't work. Overshot it big time. It's not a matter of little face, guys. It's a matter of being realistic here. Like, it's 34 to go. We've had one caution, which was definitely a fluke. The odds of a caution coming out are not good. AJ and SVG don't have the best pit crews, so there's that to work with there too. It's really hard to make up 6 seconds on a super speedway when the guys out front are driving away and you got a car in front of you that won't get the fuck out of the way. Although that seems to be happening right now.
Yeah, he needs to punt him. I'm not saying punt him, but get this. Yeah, there we go.
No. It's time to move him, though. We're at that point. Plus, he hit us in the back earlier. Fill that glass up a bit. No, man, like, trying to be, like, I get where you guys are coming from. Talent, 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 but it's just so much more than that. And Ryan and I have exhausted that point on this channel for the last year. Both AJ and SVG. I have more faith in SVG being able to do it if AJ has steering issues, especially if SVG's tire pressures come into play. But you're working against the clock. Like, I'll tell you right now, SVG's not winning this race, fellas, without a caution. And if you think he is, I'm sorry, you're wrong. SVG already has no grip according
It's
to
not just SVG, Sean. Just in general.
Oh, there it is. Oh, he's probably not happy about that one. Whew. Did you have the in-car cam on?
I do, but I think my in-car is a bit behind
AJ
you
just punted him.
because I haven't.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, we just are. Yeah, so my in-car says he's going down just turned down the front stretch.
And no, I'm not saying that it's anybody back at 6th, even if it was Kyle Larson in a Hendrick car. You need some help when this stuff's going on because the leader is running, without qualifying trim, qualifying laps, and then you get slower cars holding you up. Now, I hope SVG does what AJ did and gets rid of Briscoe because Briscoe's been a little dick this race. So, again, it's not SVG hate. And Briscoe just got AJ back. He held on to it.
Yeah, well, you have to get away from him once
Yeah.
you do it, right?
And he doesn't have the car he had earlier, right? Like, whatever the issue is, the steering's clearly not as bad as he thinks it is, or else he wouldn't be running. It's that simple. But, both guys got fucked on that restart. I want either one of those guys to win. If Kyle Busch wins, then good on him because I didn't think he was even in the conversation to be competitive. Oh, wow. Yeah. See, the 19 just tried to run him over.
Yeah, you're
You'll see
definitely
it.
ahead of me
Like,
now.
there was no attempt to avoid AJ there. He missed him, thankfully.
Let's see where we at.
I'm talking in-car cam, to be clear.
Yeah, no, I think I was pretty synced up on the race broadcast and the in car, but now I'm a little off on both. I think so.
Well, I'm only going to be able to have the
Yeah,
race up here soon. My laptop is dying, and I'm going to have to switch over to my other phone to watch the race. But
hey, he's got him cleared now, so send him, leave his ass in the dust.
yeah, I want SVG to do the same. Like Briscoe's being a shit face, so. And I could be wrong. I think Briscoe hit SVG on the restart too. So I'd have to go back and watch it when they do the highlight package, but I'm pretty positive he did.
Yeah. So this is where I'm frustrated, and this is what Sean's getting at, guys. Okay, so AJ's finally cleared Briscoe. SVG's probably going to clear him here in the next half a lap or lap, but we're 7.5 seconds behind, 7.3 behind, a full 4 seconds behind Byron in third. Like, even if we start clicking off laps where we're 2-3 tenths a lap better than these guys,
to a car when you pass them.
Yeah, and that's assuming you can get by him. Like, how long did it take AJ to get by Briscoe, and how long has it
7
taken
or 8 laps at least.
SVG here? It's taken way too long. And obviously SVG's been able to do it a little bit. Well, yeah, SVG's. You know what though? SVG's not waiting around. I think AJ was way too nice there. SVG said, "Screw it, I'm going to make my way through, and you're going to get out the damn way."
Is he through? I can't see anything. I'm blind now, so I need a couple of minutes.
Yeah, he's through, and because they were dicking around, Reddick was able to get by Briscoe as well. Man, I'm so frustrated with that. Because if AJ was behind Busch at this point, he would be knocking his door down.
I just wanted to say that I thought SVG. I do think SVG is better than AJ right now. I thought he was patient with AJ while AJ was going after Briscoe. I thought he could have pushed the issue more, and he didn't. And I definitely appreciate that. They're not teammates anymore, but obviously ECR partners to an extent, but that doesn't mean much.
No. Well, AJ was about a half a second faster than the leader there. Now that he's cleared the traffic. So, now we have to start talking about pit stops, right? Because there is going to be another pit stop coming up.
Well, to continue on my skepticism and my glass half empty attitude when it comes to calling, there's just no reason to be confident in that pit crew. Hopefully they nail a stop. This is the time because you can't lose more ground. Like as it is, you need a caution, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it sounds like so. I can barely hear the spotter for AJ, and they said start looking for potential debris to see if there might be a caution because they're starting to plan their pit stop and they want to pit before any caution. So,
Who just got wrecked? I was out of the room. Oh, it's an old race.
they're
Okay.
reviewing past races.
So I can't listen to the scanner right now or watch AJ's in-car cam, sadly, for at least the next probably 10, 15 laps. So that's all you. I also don't know
Yeah,
if the chat is updating in Restream right now. I noticed earlier the chat wasn't coming across here until like sometimes up to a minute or two after YouTube.
yeah. It says actually, what was that? This is 8 minutes ago. It says we've reached 100 messages, which is awesome. But I haven't seen anything pop up since then. So, folks in the chat, if you have anything to say, why don't you let us know? Because I'm curious if we're still getting your messages.
I mean, AJ and SVG are keeping pace with the leaders. They've been at that 6.5 and 8.5 second mark back. I thought SVG would have cleared the 19 a little quicker than that. Which, by the way, what happened to the? Oh, he's right behind Reddick. But already lost 6 seconds to AJ, by the way, which lets you know how much he was holding AJ and SVG up.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I understand trying to be respectful and make these passes clean, and it is hard to pass, right? It's not like you're talking about a JGR car; they're not slow. Um, but he was way too patient with him. He should have pushed him out of the way a little bit earlier. Yeah, yep. Pit stops are starting. I'm curious to see when these guys make their move down pit road here. Obviously, you don't want to get caught by a caution, but I wouldn't want to pit for another 2 or 3 laps personally. Yeah, normally there are cautions at the end of these races, and cautions tend to breed cautions, Tori. Um, Cota is one of those tracks where you don't see a lot of them, so I could see this race going green to the end here. But at the same token, if we do get a caution, then we'll probably see 3 or 4 more because they're just going to start pinballing each other.
Yeah, and like Kyle and Bell and AJ and SVG all got to come soon because, as we've seen with McDowell, older tires will not hold up now against newer tires.
No, but but if you can go even an extra lap or 2 laps, that tire goodness at the end of the run might really pay dividend. I mean, just to say it, AJ's down to, well, I know the tracker is fluctuating, but 5.8, 5.9 behind the leader. He shaved a second and a half in the last couple laps. So, having that late good tire towards the end of the run is really helpful. But I'm guessing we're going to see them all right here.
Bell stayed out.
Well, Bell stayed out.
I don't know if AJ came or not because I can't see his info sheet.
Looks like he stayed out. Yeah, all right. AJ stayed out. And Van Gisbergen stayed out as well. Here, all right. They're coming this time. And AJ is absolutely catching Bell, by the way. Both of them.
No, I think Tori's right. Bell's been probably running it real hard. Not that AJ and SVG haven't. With what happened, they definitely probably pushed much harder than they would have otherwise. But they both need clean pit stops here. You can't
I
have
agree.
even a
But I am
1 second
amazed.
mistake.
I mean, no, not even a 1 second, because AJ's gained that second. AJ has gained almost a full second this lap on Bell. You don't want to give that back. All right, here we go. Allmendinger's in. Van Gisbergen stayed out.
Looked clean, minus the tire carrier getting in the rear tire changer's way there instead of being behind him. He got in front of him, but looked mostly clean. I never seen a time come up, but
I'll take it. That's about as clean as we can ask for, as long as there's no
Bell's
mistakes.
still out too.
Bell is still out, yes.
How much time did AJ look to lose to Kyle Busch? It looks like a lot.
A couple seconds based off of this.
Well, that's way too much for one pit stop.
And now we're stuck behind John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah, we're 9 seconds behind Kyle Busch now. That's a killer. Running long never pay. It might pay off later, and they might get lucky from it. But this is exactly what happened in that Roval race with Chase Elliott. Essentially lost 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, Bush made a flawless stop there. Well, this is an interesting move by SVG. He is staying way out long. He's going to lose a ton of track position, but he will obviously have some really fast. Yeah, he'll be really fast at
They're
the end of this
gambling for a
race.
caution, essentially. But if they don't get it, his race is over and he's coughed up a bunch of positions. AJ's already made 3 seconds up on SVG.
Yeah, it's a big loss for sure.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Byron, Cindric still need to pit. No, Byron doesn't. Byron pitted, right?
Byron doesn't. Cindric, Bell, yeah, Cindric and Gilliland do. So, I mean, yeah, we're going to be fourth here. We got Bell directly in front of us.
Fifth. We'll be fifth.
SVG is going to fall to probably.
All right.
Hard to
Sorry, we'll be
say, but
fourth.
probably 13th. 13th. Yeah, John, it's tactics, and it could pay off if there is a late caution. He'll definitely have a huge advantage.
To give you an idea, I know, like, I get, glass half full, and I appreciate you guys being able to do that because I'm sitting over here as an AJ fan, gutted right now, even with a top 5 run on the table. But SVG is going to fall like a rock here, and he will not be competitive in this race unless he gets a caution. To give you an idea how many people think that, our NASCAR fantasy pool chat is going off right now about that very thing, despite Ryan and I not talking over there.
Yeah, let's look at again, Sean. Let's look at the actual gaps. AJ is 5 seconds ahead of Chastain in 10th. If SVG pits now, he's probably going to come out 11th or 12th. That's not a bad position. He's going to make up a couple of those spots pretty quickly. So he'll probably go from running 5th or so to down to 10th or
It's going to
so.
take time to pass
But he'll
cars.
have a lot fresher tires.
And all it takes is one idiot to get in front of you, and Briscoe might be one of those idiots that holds them up. But I do agree with the risk versus the reward. The second AJ and SVG both got fucked over on that restart. That's the position they're in, right? Like Kyle Busch was able to avoid it, and Kyle Busch is sitting out there, 10 seconds ahead of AJ now. By the way, AJ's losing time to Kyle Busch. It's unfortunate. Those guys need a yellow flag. It's just going to be really hard to get one. Like you basically need a spinner won't do it. You're going to need one of those cars to get damage. Keeping in mind, if AJ and SVG can both nail top 5 finishes, still great points day for them. Would have been better if they had stage points, but they both of those guys need good races because I got news for everyone out there. Next weekend's not going to be pleasant for either one of those two. Did SVG grab tires? That was a pretty quick pit stop. He's only 4 seconds behind AJ, but cars to pass.
That's what I'm saying. Like there wasn't a terrible strategy. Like 4 or 5 seconds is kind of where I expected him. I thought he'd be behind Chastain, but it wasn't a bad strategy. He had clean tracking and was able to run flat out.
Yeah, and the only guy I'm really worried about being a complete dick to him is that 19, right? So eventually the tires do even out, though. Even if you have 4 or 5 laps fresher tires than someone, you fast forward to where you got 20 laps on them, 15, 20 laps on them, and there's not that much of a difference. Um, the thing that'll be funny is if a caution comes out with, say, 8 or 10 to go, how many cars pit? Because the guys that pit for tires are going to be the guys that are going to be a problem because they will be 3 seconds a lap quicker.
Yeah, I agree. That would be the real test of the metal, right? Like, you know, you would want fresh tires because you would be significantly faster, you'd be way far behind. It is still hard to pass, even on good, advanced tires. So I personally think you'd probably want to stay out if you're towards the front end, but I could see a lot of gamblers making a risk and then it's just going to be chaos, right? Because those restarts are going to be just an absolute mess. So, honestly, at this point, I'd almost rather this thing just go green. I mean, of course, I want to win, but a good finish is just so crucial for everyone here.
The real problem is, right now AJ's not making up any ground to the leader, and neither is SVG. Kyle had the better short run car than those two. 7 or 8 laps from now, they might start making up ground, but they're in. AJ doesn't have much traffic in front of him, where SVG's got dipshit basically really close to him, and then a couple of guys in front of him after that. I'd love nothing more than SVG to just punt Briscoe into next week.
Yeah, I'm a little annoyed with Briscoe right now, but he was doing his job. He was fighting as hard as he could for his position. So
Yeah, for sure. And I feel for the guy. I don't know if anyone knows the story about Chase Briscoe, but he lost his child a few years ago, and just tragic event. And I think he won a race the next weekend, and just nothing you ever want to wish on anybody. So I'm sure Chase Briscoe, the person's a good guy. Just
and again, it was McDowell that punted AJ, and I don't know who got behind SVG to be honest.
someone door shotted him. I
Yeah,
don't know who it was. I thought it was the 19, but I'd have to see the restart again.
and I will say Tyler Reddick is right on AJ's butt here as well. So he's got to be smart and try to be aggressive because Reddick very well could have a slightly better car than us, and I don't want to lose any positions.
I think Reddick has a better car than us. I think that's a given at this point. AJ just has not been able to pull away. Like, he needs a caution. I know you don't want one, but like, he needs one.
I don't. I'm not even considering a win at this point. The car's fallen off a little too much. Maybe there is a little bit of damage to the right rear where he got hit. That's causing So I would assume that's part of the issue here is something's probably bent in the rear suspension, and I really don't want to even dick with some restarts. I'd rather just run this out.
Yeah, Reddick just passed him. Just doesn't have the pace.
By the way, just want to throw a shout out. Justin Haley up there in ninth. Really, really strong performance for him.
Well, there it is. There's a lot of damage. You got to throw the yellow. Yep.
Oh,
Here it comes.
and there's in the kitty litter, right? Yeah, that's going to be a yellow.
There it is. And
He's in the
now all of a
gravel.
sudden the
Yep.
race is completely different.
Yep. Eh,
There's still, by the time they go back green, what, 12, 13 laps to go? Oh, man. I think you got to come for tires. Maybe not SVG because he stayed out way later than everyone, but I think people are coming.
yeah. I mean, that's the fall off is real, right? Like this is not and they've been on the. How long have they been out there now? 10 laps at least.
You know me. I'm pretty anti NASCAR with some of their rulings and decisions, and them changing a rule mid race. I did not sit well with, but they deserve some credit. Them and Goodyear on the tire that they brought this weekend.
Oh, SV.
What was that?
Just torpedo. That's Larson, or not Larson, but Hamlin was a torpedo there.
What a shock! Not again.
Well, they're talking about pitting. Well, they are talking about possibly pitting. The hard part is seeing who's potentially going to pit and who isn't before they make a
I
commitment.
think that's almost the way you have to play it, right? Like, if nobody pits in front of you and you pit, you need almost everybody behind you coming. Because if you don't have it, you can have fresh tires all you want. One, you could get caught up in someone's mess. You'll gain some of your track position back, but you may never make it back to the point that you're pitting from. And the flip side on that, this exact same thing could happen with the car behind you if you don't pit.
Yeah.
I like that, Brock. Yeah, tomorrow he'll be blaming someone else. I know Ryan's a Hemlin guy, and I actually enjoy his podcast, but I'm not. I think the guy's an excuse machine. But I do credit him and 2311 for what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I love his opinions, but honestly, I just really appreciate how he's handled his later stages of his career. They're staying out. That was a mistake. They should have pitted.
Are they showing the pit road stuff?
Yeah,
It's commercial for me.
it's side by side. I think they should have pitted.
Who all stayed out?
Not all of everybody in front of them and maybe 5 or 6 behind them.
Yeesh. Eek. Yeah, you needed more guys than that to stay out. behind you. And yeah, now you're into cautions breed cautions. Now turn one's going to be a shit show
Yep.
for the rest of the race, and guys are going to get wrecked. I will bet that that's not the last caution. I'm betting there's going to be 3 more. Well, 2 more in addition to this one.
I went over and asked him if I could take Carl to one of the trades.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't have an exact number, but I would say 7 or 8 cars behind us stayed out. So, I mean, it's not like we got fresh tires directly on our butt, but it's not great.
Well, you do have fresher tires on your butt in the name of SVG. So that being said, I agree with you. They probably should have pit simply because clearly something's wrong with the car, and like not enough to they're doing nothing, but
They don't like the tires. That's for damn sure. All right. So I don't know if you heard the broadcast, but Mike Joy just said 17 cars stayed out. So the first car with tires is 18th. Yeah, I would almost. I mean, I know this is counterintuitive, but I would almost let SVG be the aggressor, knowing he's got the fresher tires. Almost concede the spot if you can, and then just see how the restart plays out. Where are we at? How many laps to go? 13?
I think I got my laptop back up for the rest of this race, so I should be able to swing to an AJ's in car, SVG's in car, and the race broadcast. I heard what you say about conceding the position. I know AJ's a little wiser in his older years, but I think you and I both know he's dive bombing that into one, seeing how many positions he can get, and so is everybody with the fresh tires.
Yeah, that's
And
the scary part. Everyone's
yeah,
dive bombing.
I think the real over under here, people. Here, how about this? Over or under 2 cars getting turned around on this restart. Me
Over.
too. Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean they'll throw a
No,
caution,
you
but
need
I do
debris
think
for that to happen.
at least 3 cars go for a loop here.
I don't know if Larson has all of his laps back. That's a good question.
He's down in 30th, but that doesn't mean a lot.
Bowman has got
Oh,
back up to
actually, I can look
16th,
on my phone.
thankfully. Busher's all the way down in 20th, so I expected more out of him.
Well, I've got Bell at the top end, and I don't know what's happened to Hocevar. He is tanked, unfortunately.
Probably did something stupid. Do we know who the first car is on Fresh Tires?
You're gonna love this one. It's gonna be Chase Briscoe.
Oh, God.
He's an 18th, but he's the first one with Fresh Tires.
Yeah, I just. So had AJ pitted, he would have restarted 18th, which is a long way back. So I get trying to hold your track position, which he might do. He might lose a few spots too. He might even gain a spot or two. My point is, he was gaining nothing on Kyle Busch that entire time, and he lost a spot to Reddick, who was on 2-lap older tires.
Yeah. I mean, he's not happy with the current tires that he's got. They didn't make any changes, they said, on the stop, but you know, the car is obviously not handling as good as it was earlier. So that's the part I'm nervous about is, he's probably got a 7th place car right now. So I just want him to figure out a way to finish in the top 5.
Do I think AJ and SVG share rib recipes? I don't know if you're being sarcastic with that or not, John. Tell you what, though, AJ and SVG, barring someone making a weird choose choice here, they're both going to restart in row 3. You can go from row 3 to first in turn 1. People might not like how you do it. And I specifically remember these two getting into it in the Xfinity series last year. At that basically this very same scenario, but we'll see how it all plays out.
All right, where they're about to choose, and watching all these replays doesn't make me feel any better about things.
Someone chose weird. AJ's restarting row 2. Reddick went for the inside, which I get, but I know people. The inside is so tempting there, right? Because you can dive bomb people, but you never have the momentum coming off that corner as if you're in the middle or the outside. I hope so, John. No prisoners. Those guys both got fucked last restart, so whatever happens, happens. Kyle Busch deserves to probably win this race if it's not AJ or SVG. But there's still some racing here, and I'm not convinced we've seen our last caution. Someone's doing something stupid, and I just hope it's not our guys getting collected in it. I do not like who's restarting behind SVG, though, just so we're clear.
Haley? You don't like
Is
Haley
it Haley?
behind him?
Okay, are him and McDowell running the same paint scheme? They
That's
must be.
definitely
Okay.
Haley. That's definitely Haley behind him.
Kudos to Haley. Is McDowell just basically disappeared? Good on him. Karma's a bitch. Tori's right. Someone up front's going to have a bad day, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you
Someone or
wreck the 8 car,
someone's,
he's probably showing up at your trailer.
which could be exciting.
Indeed. I still like the 8 car, man.
I prefer
He's had
the
the fastest short run
inside.
speed.
Yeah, the 8 car should clear, I would think. But to tell you what, that 20 car is also bad fast right now. So, but SVG's got the freshest tires. If SVG can make some, can clear traffic a bit, he's got a real shot to win this now as well. Oh,
Well, I'll eat my words. That was very clean. Couple of door shots there between AJ and SVG, but I'm talking the field in general. I thought that would be way more hazardous.
yeah, I'm surprised for sure. Not mad about it. They got through the S's fairly clean
Never
as
mind, I
well.
spoke too soon.
Oop,
No
oop.
yellow though.
Yeah, they got it straight. All right. Well, AJ got back by Reddick, which is good.
Yeah, Reddick and
Let's see if
SVG
he,
are battling right now.
yeah, let's see if
Oh,
AJ can't make some
Gregson.
ground. Ooh. You're about 2 seconds ahead of me. That was a hell of a move by Gregson. Ooh, I'm wondering if the 45 maybe has a cut tire. He looks really loose all of a sudden.
What do you know? Briscoe punted someone else. Oh, it was his teammate.
But that's why staying out is the better. Because Briscoe was trying to make ground. He had fresh tires, right? He was much faster than those cars, and in the end, he got into them. Also, what the fuck happened to SVG? He's down in 11th. Can somebody tell me what happened there?
Gregson got into him a couple of times, it looked like. He also got into it with Reddick a bit. Him and AJ were fairly clean at the beginning there. They rubbed doors a bit, but there was none of what's happened. Oh, SVG just punted Chastain.
Really? Well, it looks like Chastain's got an issue. Or not. Oh, no. Oh, now it's just getting rough. They're all pissed at each other.
Yeah. Might still see
Well, if
another
these guys
caution.
are
I hope we
playing
do.
bumper cars, yeah, there's got to be a tire or a bent. These guys are just assaulting each other. This is.
I wonder if SVG's got a tire going down. He was very back end looked very loose there.
Yeah, he's got a loose. Yeah, something's wrong. Either that or he's just really overdriving right now. Hey, that happens, right? These cup cars, you get out of rhythm just a bit. You get upset, you get angry. It doesn't take much to overdrive, and he might just be overdriving it there.
Oh, Kyle Busch with a huge mistake. You'll see it.
Did he go wide? What happened there?
He just lost it. Like he's still in. Oh wow. He had a comfortable lead and just blew. I think it
Blew
was
the
the entry of
S.
the S's.
Yeah,
And
the entry to the
what were we
S.
talking about with that? Like you blow the entry to those S's and it's lights out for the next 4 turns.
Yeah.
Reddick is catching AJ fairly easily. AJ just doesn't have anything. He needs to be able to take the lead on a restart, or it's lights out.
It's been lights out, Sean.
No, it's been yeah, for sure. Ever since that restart, I'm saying that was his only chance is to get it on a restart. That's why I liked your idea of pitting for tires.
But in the end, there's a lot of racing left here, guys. 11 laps. But this is just where I'm saying I would rather this thing just go green. Don't do anything stupid. Bring this thing home in the top 5, and I'll be happy as a clam.
Yeah. I think you can hold off Greg's in 2 seconds. We'll see. but Reddick is going to pass him for sure. SVG's back inside the top 10. Oh. Kyle Larson's not moving.
Yeah, they'll give him some time. It's a long way around. Oh, here comes the 20.
Did you start him this week?
I did.
Unlike the race he won.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. AJ just gave it to him. AJ just conceded the spot, and that was the right decision. Now he just has to hold off Gregson here.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's going to happen, man. Gregson's made up 7/10 fresher tires.
Is Noah
I
on
think.
fresh tires?
I'm not sure. Maybe he's not, but he's still gaining rapidly. AJ was 2.5 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, AJ gave up the position to the 45 at the start of the S's. That was not a good move there. So I think he's back in rhythm now, but he definitely was slowed up more than I would have hoped. And where's SVG? He's sitting in 10th.
Jesus, Bell looked like he just tried to wreck Bush.
Woo! Just goes to show, man, it's so easy to overdrive. Even the best in the world. Turn 1 at Cota is dangerous. I really do think the 16 car got a damaged rear spindle in that hit with McDowell because he just hasn't been the same since.
No, not at all. Gregson down to only a second behind him now. Top 5 looking very unlikely, but should hold on to a top 10.
Ooh, Kyle is hanging on. AJ is very unhappy now. Yeah, the cars. This is super frustrating. Just in a general statement, I know the day is sunset's coming. The track's cool. There's a lot more rubber on the track, but it's just again so frustrating that this is the worst the car's been all day at the end of the race. Like this is the sort of stuff that we really just, if we want to continue to get better, you got to figure out a way to get better towards the end of the race, not worse.
I'm sure Rice is going to let us know if something got damaged. He typically does, and I think definitely it did, but it's hard. Like, he was lucky he didn't spin out there when he got hit hard there by McDowell. Gregson's going to be passing him here shortly.
Let's see. I don't know. Reno's saying fell off at stage 3. Yeah, they both got hit. So I don't know. It's probably a spotter, but they're like, hey, they're still competing up front. You're still a player. And AJ said, stop talking. But yeah, you're right. Here's Noah. Noah's right on our ass and about to.
Bush is in tough.
Yeah, Bush is. I mean, I give Bush all the credit in the world for fighting and holding. And I thought they would have cleared him laps ago. But it's getting to a point where he's just being aggressively blocking, and it won't. With 7 to go, I think somebody's going to eventually move him out of the way.
Greg's in past AJ, and AJ's probably going to continue to lose spots here. His car is just done. Bunch of cars very close.
Ooh! Oh, that's heavy contact between the 8 and the 20.
The 20 looked like he might have cut a corner there after that.
Yes, it did. I think he might have cut a corner. You're right. I don't know if they'll call it, but he sure as shit looked like he cut it.
Kyle's making a lot of mistakes. He just missed that corner completely.
Ooh, is that it? Is that more contact? Ah, bad. The only thing this is Logano's now giving us a hard time.
Yeah, I hate to say it. We're going to have a hard time even getting the top 10. There's just too much time left to go, and our car is terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of good cars. Yeah, you're right. They're all behind us now, which is super disappointing. Yeah, we are holding up a whole train of cars.
He's working him real hard. He's on his ass big time. He got it. Almost.
AJ's just got no drive off whatsoever.
No, he don't. And that was his strength early in this race. And SVG's caught him now.
No, yeah, he's falling like a rock in water. It's he's not going to be happy either because he wanted to pit.
Yeah.
Hell of a battle
Super
for the lead, though.
Yeah. Nice move by SVG.
This is gutting, man. We're not even going to get a top 10. This is fucking brutal.
Yeah, now they're saying there might be a left rear going down.
And he's actually out of the top 10 now. Just a disastrous end of the race. Very AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, he's tanking. Lynn, he fell like a rock. He's down to 11th right now, and God knows if he's even going to hold that. So
No, he probably won't. The car is a disaster. He's got nothing left.
no, they're saying somebody mentioned maybe a left rear going down, but I don't know.
Now down to 14th. This, yeah. Wow. Not even going to be a good points day.
He's pitting, he said. So, yep, day's done. Brutal. Brutal.
Yeah, well, maybe they should have listened to him when he said he wanted to pit.
Yeah, he is just spinning so hard. Like every time he touches the throttle, it's just spun him up. Honestly, he just needs to fight through it. I know we're falling like a rock, but pitting doesn't solve our problem.
Yeah, he can't get back to the gas at all.
Yeah, he's got to be so ginger with it.
I think AJ's earned the right to make his call, and if he wanted to pit, he should have been able to pit.
Well, this is clearly he has to have a tire going down or something for this to be occurring. You know,
He did say he didn't like the tires before the yellow came out either, though.
that's true, and that's a
Could have
fair
been a,
point. He didn't like the tires, but
as much as
you
the
know,
steering, he thought the steering was an issue. He made a point of saying the tires, and just a disastrous end of the day. SVG at least is going to have a decent points day. I don't think he's getting into the top 5, but emotionally gutting.
yeah, this is. I mean, he's going to finish probably 27th, 28th after running 5th all day. Is just disgusting. I mean, he was running 10th 4 laps ago.
It ain't getting better next weekend either.
Man. It's going to get to a point where we just lost a spot to Ty Dillon.
Yeah, at this rate, not even going to get top 30. Kudos to SVG. He's toughing it out. 7th place. Made his way back up from 11th.
Yes, he did. He took a couple bad restarts, and frankly recovered very nicely. 7th is not what I don't think everybody wanted. At the beginning of this race, he was running for the win. But you know what? It's a solid day for him. 7th place. It just didn't quite work out. He probably didn't have the best car here at the end either, to be honest. Yeah. Woo. Oh, Gregson. Oh.
Cody Ware passed us.
I guess maybe he should have pitted then.
No, AJ wanted to pit. He made that very clear on the radio. I don't know what you had heard.
I heard they were debating it. I don't think there was one way or the other. The pros and cons of pitting were the pit strategy or the look, where they were going to come out on the end of it. So
Ultimately, if the back is bent like you think it might have been, no pit was going to help because the race, like he needed caution after caution to have a shot there, and didn't happen. They had a fairly clean restart finally.
Yeah. And that's the shocking part. Time. Truthfully, was the fact that restart was clean. Because that's the risk, right? Because we've done this in the past. A couple of years ago, there's something about this track. He just doesn't get the finish he deserves. Because a couple of years ago, he was running 5th or so, and I think he did pit, and then got caught up in all of the, madness on the restart. Remember the Nutrien car? So, and took another 5th car and finished 30th. So, well, he just managed to finish 30th in a slightly different way this time. So that is fucking frustrating, but. Good for SVG. P6 as a solid day for him.
It's why, I think the car had enough. The car had enough speed to be able to say he could have contended for a win prior to that. He had the best mid-run car. SVG had the best long-run car. Kyle Busch had the best short-run car. The problem with that is they're not Hendrick Motorsports. They're not Joe Gibbs Racing. They're not Penske. They're not even RFK. And when you pass up the points that they had, I think he got 1 stage point today.
Well, he finished 5th or 6th in stage 2.
Did he finish that good? I didn't think it was that good.
He did. It was 6, maybe it was 7th. Either, but he got some. It wasn't a complete wash on stage points.
But he realistically probably could have had 14 or 15 in total, and was going to end with 3 or 4. And considering where he's finishing this race, it's just. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. You cannot have those things happen on tracks like this. And it did. And it's not his fault or the team's fault, really, what happened. And now it's going to snowball. We know how AJ is. And sadly, Phoenix is next, followed by 2 good tracks for AJ. But
Yeah, we needed a 5th place run today badly.
yeah,
Well, and that's why,
because
at the end of the day, why I'm not mad he didn't pit, because finishing 5th today would have been just fine. Obviously, something happened, cut tire, broken suspension, whatever it ended up being, but that would have been a very, very good day for them to have that finish. And uh, yeah, it's just sucks. Hate it.
well, I'm not a mechanic, but I think when we go back and look at this race, if it's not a tire, I do wonder if the thing that got bent or hurt was the rear sway bar, and if that would have come completely detached there, it feels like you have a tire going down, if not worse.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so if it's not a
Yeah.
tire, I imagine it's that. And
Yeah. Or the flip side is maybe it is bent and then it caused some stagger issue and put excessive wear on one of the tires as well. And the fucker could just be balder than snot because we got excessive wear. So anyway, something clearly happened there. Devastated the finish, but Ty Dillon finishing ahead of us is just a gut punch. But
I think Cody Ware beat us too, so there's that. He
yeah,
passed us. I don't know if AJ got it back. They looked like they were racing to the line, but
yeah, looks like they gave us 30th, so huzzah to that. But
oh,
same thing for Kyle Busch, right? I mean, I ended up finishing 5th, but he burned up his tires too there at the end. SVG was 6th. SVG was great. That's a solid day for him. So
yep.
I'm happy for him, but man, as an AJ fan, yet again another devastating Cota.
Yeah, a track that he runs very well at, and he's won at a couple of times in the Xfinity Series. Was 2 corners away. Sorry, guys, that was my 2-year-old. Uh, um, that was he was 2 corners away from winning 3 years ago when he got punted, and
Yep.
it's hard, and we know how AJ is, even his later years. This is not going to be one that is taken lightly. And, I hate to say it, but you're 3 races in and 2 of them have ended in a disaster. We said this couldn't really happen. We're quickly entering need to get a win territory. And it's unfortunate because with consistency, you don't have to be in that position. With luck, you don't have to be in that position. But here we are. But kudos to SVG. Like, SVG was still able to get 6th place. I know for many people here in the chat, 6th place is not what they wanted, and frankly, not what he deserved. He deserved better than that. These are the things that Ryan and I talk about, the variables. He was able to recover from falling to 11th and drive his way back up to 6th, which is still good, and a good points day, which he needed after the first 2 races. And next week's going to be a struggle for both guys, AJ and SVG. It's Phoenix, and there's not a lot of hope there. But proud of SVG for still pulling in 6th. I wish Kyle Busch would have won. I said earlier in the race it needs to be one of those 3, and that late caution hurt all 3 guys.
Yep.
It is what it is. If you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all to keep up with all of our content. Because we did the live stream here today, it'll probably be a few days before we get a video out, but we'll work on something. I know I need to let the wounds heal a bit, as I'm sure most AJ fans do, and the SVG fans aren't not next week after that. Sorry, what's that mean? I could have swore Phoenix is next week.
Oh yes, they're talking about the Red Bull car, their paint scheme.
Oh, where's he running that at? Vegas?
Yeah, it says next
It's
week.
either Vegas or Homestead.
Yeah, it would be Vegas. Yeah, it would be Vegas.
Yeah.
Yep.
AJ's good at Vegas, very good at Homestead. So I don't know if AJ can find a way to get a top 20 in Phoenix. Probably going to have to be via attrition, but desperately needs it, and it shouldn't be expected, though, for either one of those guys, frankly. But SVG rebounded today, so now he's had gets one good result out of the three, which is what AJ has. And, hopefully better things to come for both drivers. Final thoughts, Ryan? I got to get out of here and put 2 kids to bed.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think today started off in the chance with both cars able to be in a contention to win, and definitely feel deflated after what was yet again another strong day. But listen, it's killer for the points for AJ in particular. But we take the fact that we did have good speed, carry that forward, and try to find it again here in a few weeks. So, it's just got to keep digging. The season's not over; it's only week 3. And both these guys are going to have more opportunities. So we'll take those and run with them. But today it was definitely hurts. I think both cars finished way worse than they should have.
I think that's fair. Anyways, guys, again, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications to all to keep up with all of our content. Check out our other channel, NASCAR Nation. Head on over there and subscribe. We only have the one video up for it now. We'll probably do just a general Cota recap during the week for that. I know Ryan wants to begin work on a Connor Zillish video as well, so we'll be looking at that. 2, check us out on Facebook, Colleague Nation, Binger Nation, SVG Nation, Ekis Nation is coming, NASCAR Nation is up, Colleague Racing's over there as well. On Twitter, it's at Colleague Nation and at Yount Racing 45. I think that's everything. So enjoy
It's a
the
lot
end
now,
of your
but yes,
weekend.
that's all of it.
Enjoy the end of your weekend, and big thanks to the new staff members we've brought on at Colleague Nation too. You know who you are. We really appreciate it. Makes things more fun. Wish it was a better result today. On to the next one.